There comes a point in every journey when it seems like nothing is working. You've prayed, believed, visualized, and still no sign. But listen carefully. Everything is coming together for you, even now. The delays, detours, and disappointments are not denials. They are divine rearrangements. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. In the unseen realm, forces are moving, threads are weaving, and pathways are forming in your favor. The universe is orchestrating a symphony you cannot yet hear. Just because your physical eyes see no change does not mean nothing is happening. What you cannot see is often more powerful than what you can. There is a sacred law. What you hold in your inner world must eventually manifest in your outer one. The seed planted in faith cannot die. It must grow when nurtured by persistence. Your imagination is the workshop of creation. Every image you hold in your mind with feeling and belief is forming substance in the invisible. When you imagine yourself already successful, already healed, already at peace, something within you shifts. That shift is not make-believe, it is creation in motion. You become magnetized to that reality, and that reality becomes magnetized to you. The unseen begins to shape itself into form. Do not be deceived by appearances. Many give up because they believe the silence means rejection. But the silence is not rejection, it's preparation. The universe takes time to align every detail so that when the blessing comes, it fits perfectly, effortlessly. Your role is not to rush it, but to remain faithful to your inner conviction. When everything seems darkest, when doubt whispers that it's useless to go on, that's the moment to stand firm, because the night always turns into morning, and you are closer than you think. The energy of faith is cumulative. Every act of belief adds momentum to your unfolding miracle. Keep affirming. It's already done. My path is clear. Everything is coming together for my good. Speak it, even when nothing supports it. Feel it, even when you see no sign of it, because your feeling is the evidence of the unseen. Remember this, it's easy to believe when things look good, but true power is believing when nothing looks possible. That's when creation happens. That's when the invisible becomes visible. That's when you prove the divine power within you. So, don't give up. Don't surrender your vision to temporary conditions. The waiting is not wasted. It's the womb of your next miracle. Keep imagining, keep believing, keep moving forward with quiet confidence. Because one day soon you'll look back and realize every delay, every tear, every test was necessary to bring you here, to the fulfillment of everything you once imagined. Everything is coming together for you. Don't give up, just keep going. Everything begins in the unseen. Long before a flower blooms, the seed rests quietly beneath the surface, hidden from sight, yet filled with purpose. The same is true for your desires. What you long for, peace, success, healing, love, abundance, already exists in the invisible realm, waiting for you to recognize it as yours. The moment you believe and feel it as real within, you activate the divine power that transforms the unseen into the seen. Nothing ever appears in your outer life that was not first accepted in your inner world. You may not realize it, but every thought, every feeling, every assumption you hold is creative. The mind is not a passive observer. It is a spiritual workshop where reality is shaped. When you close your eyes and imagine a life of fulfillment, and when that vision feels natural to you, you are doing the most powerful work there is. You are not daydreaming. You are constructing. You are setting in motion an unseen chain of events that will ultimately rearrange circumstances to match what you have already accepted within. The invisible realm is more real than the visible, for it is the source from which all things arise. Every great invention, every piece of art, every world-changing idea began first as an image in the unseen. The same divine process works in your life. When you choose to believe that your desire already exists, when you feel the joy of its fulfillment in your heart, you are aligning yourself, the energy of creation itself. The outer world cannot resist this alignment for long. It must eventually reflect what you persistently hold as true. The key is faith, not as blind hope, but as inner knowing. Faith is the quiet confidence that even though you cannot yet see it, the reality you've claimed is already complete in spirit. You don't need to strive or struggle. You only need to remain faithful to that inner picture. The more you revisit it, feel it, and dwell in it, the stronger its pull becomes. Life begins to rearrange itself. People appear, opportunities arise, and doors open seemingly by coincidence. But nothing is accidental. You have called it forth by the creative power of your belief. Never be deceived by appearances. The invisible comes first, and the visible merely follows. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the process. Likewise, trust that your unseen creation is unfolding perfectly. Hold to the feeling of already having it, and your faith will translate the unseen into form. You are not waiting for creation to happen. You are living within it now. Every fulfilled desire begins as an inner conviction. When you believe and feel as though it is already yours, the universe cannot help but mirror that truth back to you. What you desire is not far away. It is already formed, awaiting your recognition. Creation begins in the invisible, and once you accept that, you become the conscious author of your destiny. Delay is never denial. What looks like nothing happening is often everything happening behind the scenes. Life has its own rhythm, a divine timing that cannot be rushed or delayed. When you feel stuck or uncertain, when doors seem closed or paths unclear, understand that you are not being punished, you are being prepared. What feels like a pause is really a process. The universe is rearranging people, events, and circumstances to align perfectly with the outcome you've envisioned. Every dream has a gestation period. Just as nature requires time to turn a seed into a tree, your desires need time to take root and mature. You cannot force a flower to bloom before its season, and you cannot rush divine timing. When you believe something isn't working because you cannot see movement, you misunderstand how creation operates. The invisible work must always come first. The delay is a sacred part of the unfolding. It ensures that when your desire manifests, it will arrive in wholeness, not in fragments. When you begin to live from faith instead of frustration, you start to see the beauty of divine timing. What looks like stagnation is often alignment, pieces being placed in the right order, opportunities being prepared, and people being guided to cross your path. The universe operates with precision. Nothing is random. The timing that seems late is often the timing that saves you from mistakes, teaches you deeper trust, and prepares you to handle the blessing when it arrives. If everything came instantly, you would never develop patience, wisdom, or gratitude. The waiting season refines you. It strengthens your faith and clears away resistance. Many times the universe delays what you ask for because it wants to give you more than what you imagined. While you think nothing is happening, everything is being arranged for your ultimate good. The very obstacles that seem to stand in your way are often guiding you toward a greater path than the one you originally planned. You must learn to trust the divine sequence. When your heart says yes, but life says wait, hold on to your vision. Keep your inner faith alive, even when the outer world gives you no evidence. The moment you begin to doubt, remind yourself, what's meant for you cannot miss you. Every delay carries divine intelligence. It's not the universe saying no, it's saying not yet. And when not yet becomes now, it will make perfect sense. Do not measure progress by sight alone. The unseen alignment is working with precision beyond your understanding. The job, the opportunity, the relationship, the dream, it's all in motion, moving toward you even as you wait. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned. Keep believing, keep trusting, and keep preparing as though it's already done. Because one day, the doors will open effortlessly, and you'll realize that every delay was a setup for perfect timing. The universe never denies. Persistence is the invisible bridge that connects what you desire to what you eventually experience. Every dream, every goal, every manifestation passes through the corridor of persistence before it becomes reality. Many begin with passion and enthusiasm, but only those who persist, those who hold a vision in the face of delay, doubt, and disappointment, reach the fulfillment of what they imagine. The journey between desire and manifestation is not about struggle, but about steadfast faith. It is about standing firm in your inner conviction, even when the outer world gives you no reason to believe. When you persist in faith, you declare that your inner reality is more powerful than external circumstances. You may not yet see the results, but you continue to feel and live as though the promise is already fulfilled. That unwavering state of belief creates a magnetic force that draws your vision into form. The universe responds not to fleeting wishes, but to consistent conviction. Persistence tells creation, I already know this is mine, and the unseen forces align accordingly. Most people give up not because their dream was impossible, but because they surrendered to appearances. They look at the lack, the delay, the difficulty, and assume it means failure. But appearances are only the temporary shadows of your old thoughts. When you persist in a new state of belief long enough, those shadows dissolve and a new reality emerges. Every great creator understands this. What you assume to be true and persist in as though it were already done must harden into fact. Persistence is not forcing or begging, it is quiet confidence. It is the calm assurance that comes from knowing the law of creation cannot fail. You may fall, you may grow weary, but you return to the feeling of fulfillment again and again until it becomes natural. You persist in thought until it becomes your automatic state. And once the mind accepts it as normal, life reflects it as fact. Every obstacle you face tests your persistence. Every delay whispers, do you still believe? And your answer must always be yes. Keep imagining. Keep affirming. Keep walking by faith and not by sight. The universe rewards those who refuse to let temporary appearances dictate their truth. The more you persist, the more powerful your belief becomes, and the stronger the bridge between desire and manifestation grows. Persistence is not about time, it's about depth. It's about how deeply you've accepted your vision as already real. The person who persists without wavering steps directly into the reality they once imagined. So do not be discouraged by how long it takes. Stay faithful to your inner vision, because once your inner world is consistent, the outer must conform. Those who persist in faith, regardless of appearances, always walk straight into the world they've imagined. Assume the feeling of fulfillment, and you begin to live from the end rather than toward it. To assume is to accept inwardly that what you desire is already yours, that it has already happened in the unseen realm. This is not pretending or wishful thinking, it is a shift in consciousness. The moment you feel the reality of your desire, you awaken the creative power within that draws circumstances, people, and opportunities into harmony with that state. Your inner world becomes the blueprint that the outer world must eventually follow. Most people live in a constant state of wanting. They speak, think, and feel from lack, hoping for change, but never assuming the change has already occurred. Yet the law of creation works through assumption. What you feel yourself to be determines what you will experience. If you feel poor, you continue to attract lack. If you feel unloved, you continue to attract rejection. But the instant you assume the feeling of already having your desire, wealth, love, success, peace, you activate the unseen forces that transform your world to match that vibration. Feeling is the secret key. Words alone do not create, emotion does. When your imagination and feeling become one, you move creation from potential to reality. Close your eyes and live inwardly as though your dream were already fulfilled. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude of it is done. Dwell in that emotion until it feels natural, until you no longer crave it because you have already become it in consciousness. The universe does not respond to words. It responds to states of being. When you assume the feeling of fulfillment, you are no longer chasing your desire, you are radiating it. The world reflects back what you are, not what you wish for. Every time you return to that inner state, you strengthen its magnetic pull. Outer circumstances begin to shift subtly at first, then dramatically, as everything reorganizes itself to match the frequency you are emitting. What once seemed impossible begins to flow effortlessly, because your assumption has become your reality. Doubt will try to invade your mind. Appearances will tempt you to revert to old feelings of lack or worry. But the key is persistence in your assumption. Return to the feeling of fulfillment again and again until it dominates your awareness. Even if nothing seems to change, keep living from the end. The unseen realm responds to consistency. Your sustained assumption becomes the command that the universe must obey. This is the art of conscious creation. To dwell in the state of already having, to feel the victory before the battle, to embody the answered prayer before it appears. Once your inner world accepts it as truth, your outer world cannot resist reflecting it. Live inwardly as though the dream has already come true, and soon what was once invisible will stand before you as undeniable reality. The middle is the hardest, but also the holiest. It's the space between believing and receiving, the stretch between the promise and its fulfillment. It's where doubt whispers loudest, where patience is tested, and where faith must stand alone. Yet even though it feels like nothing is happening, everything is happening. The invisible construction site of your destiny is alive and active, arranging every piece of your future with divine precision. You cannot yet see the blueprint, but heaven is building in silence. The middle feels hard because it asks you to trust without proof. It asks you to walk by faith when sight gives you no encouragement. This is where many give up, not because the dream was impossible, but because the silence convinced them it was over. But silence is not absence. Stillness is not stagnation. When life seems quiet and motionless, it's often when divine movement is at its peak. The unseen world is busy aligning every detail, every person, and every opportunity required for your manifestation. In this sacred in-between, your inner state matters most. You are being refined, strengthened, and prepared for what you've asked for. The middle is not punishment, it's preparation. You're being molded into the version of yourself capable of holding the blessing. What you call delay is actually transformation. The universe is making sure that when the door opens, you're ready to walk through it with wisdom, gratitude, and strength. Every masterpiece requires time to take form. The builder doesn't panic when the foundation is being laid, even though there's nothing beautiful to see yet. The same is true for your life. The groundwork of your destiny is being set beneath the surface. The waiting season is where your faith becomes real. It's where belief evolves from theory to truth. The middle teaches you how to stand on unseen ground and trust that what you planted in faith will bloom in divine timing. In these moments, resist the urge to complain or despair. Instead, become still and remind yourself something sacred is happening behind the scenes. Your prayers were heard the first time you spoke them. The answer is unfolding in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Every silence is filled with divine activity. Every pause has purpose. So hold steady. Keep your heart fixed on the vision even when nothing seems to support it. Keep speaking life. Keep imagining. Keep thanking as if it were already done. The middle may feel like the hardest part of the journey, but it's also the holiest. It's where faith matures, where patience deepens, and where you are quietly shaped into the vessel that can carry your miracle. One day, you look back and realize that the middle wasn't a delay. It was the place where the invisible became visible. Your faith is the architect of your reality. Every thought you hold as true, every belief you nurture within, becomes a line drawn on the blueprint of your life. Faith is the silent designer behind every visible outcome. It builds, shapes, and constructs the world you live in, brick by brick, moment by moment. You may not realize it, but your outer world is always mirroring your inner conviction. What you accept as true, whether good or bad, becomes your experience. Life does not respond to chance. It responds to belief. Faith is not something you try to have, it's something you embody. It is the unwavering trust that what you have envisioned is already complete, even before your senses can confirm it. When you believe deeply enough, the unseen begins to solidify into form. Every time you choose faith over fear, you rewrite your destiny. Fear builds walls, but faith builds bridges. Fear limits, faith expands. Fear sees lack, faith sees completion. And the one you entertain the longest becomes the foundation of your reality. When you believe that you are guided, provided for, and supported by divine intelligence, life starts to move in harmony with that truth. Opportunities appear, people arrive, and doors open, not because of luck, but because your faith created the pathway for them. The moment you accept something as true within, you instruct the universe to rearrange itself to make it visible without. You become the architect and the builder of your own destiny. There will always be moments when appearances contradict your belief. You may face delays, setbacks, or silence. But that's where true faith is tested and strengthened. Faith does not depend on sight. It thrives in the unseen. It remains steady when the evidence says otherwise. To keep believing in the face of doubt is to hold the line of creation. It is to say, I know what I have accepted as true, and I will not be moved. That persistence in conviction bends reality to your will. You must understand that life mirrors your inner dialogue. If you constantly affirm fear, limitation, or defeat, you draw more of the same. But if you affirm victory, abundance, and peace, even when circumstances deny it, you are sketching a new design for your life. Every act of belief, every moment of inner certainty adds another stroke to the divine blueprint. Eventually, what you've drawn in faith will be built in experience. Eventually, what you've drawn in faith will be built in experience. So guard your thoughts and nurture your belief. Choose to see beyond appearances. Keep believing, even when logic fails you. The unseen is always stronger than the seen, and faith will always outlast fear. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are the architect of them. Stand firm in your conviction, knowing that what you believe becomes what you build. Faith is the hand that drafts the plan, and life itself is the structure that rises to match it. In the end, everything you've ever desired, prayed for, or imagined is already in motion. The unseen world is working tirelessly on your behalf, aligning every detail to fulfill the vision you've held within. Every delay has purpose. Every challenge refines you, and every silent season builds your strength. Nothing has been wasted. The dream you've been nurturing in faith is not in vain. It's being constructed in the invisible, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. So keep believing, keep imagining, and keep moving forward with quiet confidence. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. You are not behind. You are right on schedule. Creation began the moment you believed, and it continues to unfold through your persistence and unwavering faith. The universe responds to conviction, not confusion, to faith, not fear. Walk as though it's already done, speak as though it's already yours, feel as though it's already complete, because in truth, it is. The bridge between where you are and where you're going is built on trust. And as you hold fast to that faith, life will mirror your belief with beauty, abundance, and divine perfection. Everything is coming together for you. Stay patient, stay faithful, and never give up, because what's meant for you cannot miss you. Thank you for listening, and remember, your faith is the key. Your imagination is the blueprint, and your persistence is the power that makes all things possible. Keep going. Your miracle is already on its way. There comes a sacred moment in every life when the invisible begins to move, when what once felt heavy begins to lift, and you can sense something is shifting. You can't quite explain it, but deep within, you know. The tide has turned in your favor. This shift doesn't begin outside of you. It begins in the silence. When you dare to believe that what you desire is already yours. The world may look unchanged. The facts may still argue against you, but faith knows what reason cannot see. Everything you see around you is a mirror, a reflection of what you have been assuming to be true about yourself. Change that assumption, and you change the reflection. When you decide, I am already favored, already blessed, already chosen, life rearranges itself to make it so. The shift has begun, not because the world is suddenly different, but because you are. You have stopped rehearsing your limitations. You have stopped repeating the old story. You have turned inward and begun to see yourself as the one who already possesses what you once chased. This is the divine law at work. The outer must conform to the inner. The moment you accept that truth, the process is set in motion. Everything begins moving toward the fulfillment of your new assumption. Doors open, paths appear, people show up. What once resisted you now recognizes you. It may not look like progress at first. Sometimes the old must crumble before the new can rise. But even the crumbling is favor. Even the detours are alignment. When life seems to fall apart, it's only falling into place at a higher level. So do not look to appearances. Feel the reality within. Live in the end of your desire. Walk through your days as though it is already done, because in the unseen, it is. The shift is not coming, it has already begun. You are being guided, favored, and supported in ways beyond your comprehension. The old patterns are dissolving. The old limitations are losing power. Every cell of your being is aligning with your higher vision. This is your season of transformation. Everything is changing, not to test you, but to bless you. Everything is turning in your favor, even the things that don't yet make sense. Trust the divine process. Trust the unseen hand that moves the pieces perfectly. Stand tall in your faith. Speak as though it's already yours. Feel as though it's already here. The shift has begun, and this time it's permanent. The unseen world governs the seen world. Everything you experience externally is an echo of your inner state of being. The greatest illusion of human life is believing that the world outside of us holds power over us. We are taught to react, to adjust, to adapt to circumstances as though they were independent forces shaping our destiny. Yet the truth is far more profound. The outer world is only a reflection, a mirror image of what we hold within. What we see, touch, and live through is not a cause, it is an effect. The cause is invisible, rooted in the thoughts we nurture, the emotions we dwell in, and the beliefs we quietly entertain when no one is watching. The law changes to a loving. We talk, we walk, we dream. Every experience in your life, every triumph and every struggle has its origin in this unseen realm of consciousness. It is not chance, not luck, not even effort that shapes your reality, but the vibration of your inner state. When you live in fear, the world mirrors fear back to you through delays, conflicts, and disappointments. When you live in peace, life responds with harmony. The external merely obeys the internal, the way a shadow follows the body that casts it. This is why true transformation never begins with circumstances. It begins with awareness. It begins when you realize that changing the world without changing the self is like repainting the reflection in a mirror and expecting the face to change. To alter the reflection, you must become something new within. The invisible thoughts, the quiet assumptions, the inner conversations you repeat daily, they are the architects of your world. The unseen governs the seen. When you understand this truth, you stop fighting life. You stop blaming conditions, people, and time. You begin to see that your outer experiences are invitations, not punishments, pointing you back to what must be shifted within. If your relationships feel distant, ask where in your heart you have been withholding love. If opportunities seem scarce, ask where in your mind you have been doubting your worth. Every external experience reveals the invisible pattern of thought that produced it. The world is faithful to the image you hold of yourself. You cannot experience what you have not assumed to be true in consciousness. The world bows to your dominant belief, even if that belief is hidden behind words of faith. This is why you must tend carefully to your inner garden. Every thought is a seed, and the harvest must come. Choose thoughts that align with the life you wish to live, and reality will reshape itself accordingly. The unseen world is not distant, it is immediate, personal, and responsive. It moves with your every feeling. The moment you lift your inner state to one of gratitude, expectancy, and quiet confidence, the unseen begins to stir. Circumstances realign, people shift, opportunities emerge. The outer begins to echo the new song of your soul. A shift begins the moment you change your assumption. Life rearranges itself to match the new belief you hold as true. Everything that happens to you, everything that unfolds in your experience, originates from what you assume to be real about yourself and your world. Assumptions are not mere thoughts. They are deeply held convictions, often quiet and unconscious, about what is possible for you. They are the hidden roots beneath the visible tree of your life. What you assume becomes the law of your experience, and until that assumption changes, nothing truly changes, no matter how much effort you exert. The world around you is fluid, responsive, and obedient to the inner blueprint of your belief. You may think that change requires time, opportunity, or external conditions to improve, but it doesn't. The real transformation occurs the instant you adopt a new inner stance, a new certainty of being. When you dare to assume, with conviction, that you already are the person you desire to be, the energy of life begins to organize itself to mirror that state back to you. You do not have to force it, manipulate it, or beg for it. Life knows exactly how to bring the outer picture into harmony with your inner conviction. This is the mystery of the shift. It does not begin when circumstances appear to improve, but when you decide within yourself to see differently. The moment you change the way you perceive yourself, from limited to capable, from unworthy to chosen, from overlooked to favored, the universe begins its invisible work. People, events, and situations start moving in unseen ways, forming the bridge of incidents that will lead you effortlessly to the fulfillment of your new assumption. It may look like coincidence, but it is divine orchestration. Most people wait for evidence before they believe, but the wise understand that evidence follows belief. The outer is simply catching up to the inner decision. The shift begins when you no longer seek proof, but live as though your desire were already real. You walk differently, speak differently, and think differently because your assumption has changed. That inner certainty radiates through your words and actions, and reality has no choice but to conform. Changing your assumption is not pretending or wishing. It is awakening to a deeper truth about who you are, the creative power behind your own experience. You assume because you know that consciousness creates. You choose your belief not because the world confirms it, but because you understand that your belief will make the world confirm it. So, when you find yourself trapped in old patterns, stop struggling against the visible facts. Instead, enter the inner realm and make a new assumption. Declare it to yourself quietly but firmly, I am already living in my desired reality. Feel the relief, the joy, the peace of that truth. Remain faithful to that feeling and watch how life, in its infinite intelligence, rearranges itself with perfect precision to reflect your new state of being. The shift begins the moment you do. You are not waiting for change, you are becoming it. As your inner vibration shifts, reality must follow. The idea of waiting for life to improve keeps countless souls in a quiet state of stagnation. They wait for better timing, for doors to open, for signs to appear, but nothing truly changes through waiting. Real transformation happens when you awaken to the truth that change is not something that comes to you. It is something that flows from you. The energy you carry, your vibration, your mood, your self-concept is constantly creating. Every thought, emotion, and mental image you hold is sending a signal to the universe, declaring who you believe yourself to be. Life, then, mirrors that belief with unwavering precision. To become the change means to embody within yourself the very reality you seek. You do not wait for joy to appear before you feel joyful. You choose joy, and joy calls to itself. You do not wait for love to arrive before you feel loved. You cultivate love within, and love manifests in form. This is not a metaphor, it is a spiritual law. The outer world cannot resist the dominant vibration you hold inside. As your inner frequency rises, life must rearrange itself to match it. Just as a tuning fork vibrates in harmony with another, many people live as though they are powerless observers of life, hoping something external will shift so that they can finally feel better. But the secret is that the moment you lift your state of being, the moment you choose to feel the reality of your desire now, you have already begun the transformation. You become aligned with the new version of yourself, the one who no longer seeks but possesses, no longer doubts but knows. The more you dwell in that state, the faster your physical world catches up. Becoming change requires courage, for it demands that you release your old story, the version of yourself that explains why things haven't worked, why they're hard, why you must wait. That identity feels familiar, even safe, but it is the very vibration that sustains your current reality. When you decide to embody a higher state, confidence, abundance, peace, or purpose, you dissolve the energetic patterns that held you in limitation. You do not need to force the outer world to comply. The unseen laws of consciousness ensure that as the inner state changes, the reflection must follow. Imagine your life as a mirror. You cannot smile at your reflection until you smile first. In the same way, you cannot see outer transformation until you radiate inner transformation. The shift is instant, though the visible results unfold naturally over time. As you persist in your new vibration, walking, speaking, and acting from that elevated state, life bends toward your new reality. You are not a passive participant in creation, you are the cause of it. Every moment you choose a higher thought, a higher feeling, a higher assumption. You are becoming the very change you once longed for. And when you become it within, the world has no choice but to reflect it without. Circumstances are not causes, they are reflections. Every event is simply mirroring your consciousness back to you. This truth, once fully understood, dissolves the illusion of victimhood and restores your creative power. Life does not happen to you, it happens through you. Every situation, whether pleasant or painful, is a projection of your inner state made visible. The outer world is not the author of your story, it is the page upon which your inner assumptions are written. When you understand this, you stop fighting the mirror and start transforming the image within. Most people live believing that circumstances are the source of their feelings. They think, I'm unhappy because of what's happening, or I'm confident because things are working out. Yet the law is the reverse. Your feelings and beliefs are what shape what happens. The world is your mirror, faithfully reflecting your dominant state of consciousness. When you hold a belief long enough of lack, fear, rejection, or unworthiness, that vibration impresses itself upon reality. And life obliges by bringing you experiences that match it, not as punishment, but as a revelation, to show you what is active within you. When you meet difficulty, do not resist it. See it as feedback, a reflection of where your consciousness has been dwelling. The event is not the enemy. It is information. It shows you what you have been assuming to be true about yourself and your world. If you change the assumption, the reflection must change. This is the law. No mirror can show you a different face than the one you present before it. Likewise, no life circumstance can continue once its inner cause has been dissolved. To live wisely is to see every outer condition as an effect and to trace it back to its cause within. This empowers you to stop reacting and start creating. Instead of trying to fix a reflection, to rearrange the shadows, you adjust the light source, your own consciousness. When you assume the feeling of peace, even amid chaos, life begins to mirror that calm back to you through people, events, and outcomes that match it. When you assume success, opportunities seem to emerge out of nowhere. The mirror does not argue, it simply reflects. This understanding is not about blaming yourself for what you experience, it's about reclaiming responsibility for your creative power. You are not at the mercy of circumstances because circumstances have no independent life. They are animated by the state of being you occupy. When your inner conversations change, when you stop speaking lack and start speaking abundance, stop imagining rejection and start imagining acceptance, the film of reality begins to rewrite itself frame by frame. Every event, every delay, every encounter is showing you your own consciousness objectified. The world outside is your inner world, expressed in form. Change your consciousness and you change your world. The power has always been yours, hidden not in circumstances, but in the awareness that gives them meaning. The divine order never fails. When you align with faith and expectancy, even delays become divine timing. There is a perfect intelligence orchestrating every detail of your life, an unseen harmony that moves beyond logic and beyond the limits of time. This divine order operates with flawless precision. To the mind, it may appear as delay, uncertainty, or even disappointment, But from the higher perspective of spirit, it is all unfolding in exact alignment with your growth, your readiness, and your destiny. Nothing is ever late. Nothing is ever lost. Everything is arriving exactly when it should, in the perfect sequence for your evolution. Faith is the bridge between your desire and its manifestation. When you live in faith, you live in harmony with divine order. You stop striving and start trusting. You no longer chase outcomes or force results. Instead, you hold your vision in calm expectancy, knowing that what is yours cannot be taken, delayed, or denied. Faith is not passive waiting, it is active knowing. It is the quiet confidence that beneath the appearance of stillness, the unseen forces of life are moving mountains on your behalf. When you align yourself with this truth, your energy shifts from anxiety to assurance. You stop asking, when will it happen? And begin to declare, it is already happening, though I cannot yet see it. The vibration of that certainty is what opens the way for divine order to express itself without resistance. What once looked like obstacles begin to reveal themselves as stepping stones. The detours you resented turn out to be divine redirections, placing you in the right place, at the right time, with the right people, and transform you into every opportunity and into the right life. The ego wants control. It wants to predict, to plan, to measure progress. But the divine plan is woven from threads of infinite wisdom, and often what seems like delay is preparation. The unseen is aligning circumstances in ways your mind could never calculate. Sometimes the timing must wait until another heart softens, another door opens, or another lesson within you takes root. The divine order never forgets, never overlooks, never fails. It remembers the vibration of every prayer and responds with precision. Faith and expectancy are your alignment tools. Faith says, I trust that the unseen is working perfectly. Expectancy says, I am ready to receive. Together, they tune your inner being to the rhythm of divine timing. Even when appearances suggest stillness, faith whispers, something is happening. Even when the road seems uncertain, expectancy assures it's unfolding exactly as it should. Even when the road seems uncertain, expectancy assures it's unfolding exactly as it should. Every delay is a sacred interval in which life is preparing you for what you have asked for. If you could see the divine choreography behind every pause, you would never doubt again. The divine order never fails. It cannot. Its wisdom is infinite, its timing flawless. And when you align your heart with trust, patience, and joyful expectancy, you will discover that everything you desire has been on its way all along, moving toward you with divine precision, right on time. The new world is already here. Your task is not to create it, but to awaken to it within your imagination and walk as if it were done. So often we believe that change lies somewhere ahead, that the life we desire exists in some distant future we must chase or earn, yet the truth is far more powerful. What you seek is not coming, it already exists. Every possible reality already lives in the unseen dimension of consciousness. Possible reality already lives in the unseen dimension of consciousness. You do not create your desires from nothing. You awaken to the dimension where they already exist. The act of creation is really the act of recognition, realizing that the world you long for is already complete and waiting for your awareness to claim it. Imagination is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is not mere fantasy. It is the creative act of God expressing through you. When you imagine something with conviction and feeling, you are tuning your consciousness to that reality. You are aligning your inner frequency with the world in which that vision is already true. The moment you do this sincerely, the moment you feel yourself in possession of your desire, the unseen begins to rearrange itself to reflect that state. Life must mirror your awareness, for consciousness is the only true cause. The mistake many make is believing they must work, struggle, or strive to make their dreams real, but creation is already finished. Everything you could ever hope for, peace, abundance, love, purpose, exists now in potential form. The door to that reality opens not through effort, but through belief. You awaken to it by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, by living in the end of your desire as if it were already so. This is not pretending, it is participating in divine law. When you walk as though it is done, you signal to the universe that you have recognized your true state, and reality responds accordingly. The new world you desire is not separate from you, it exists within you. It is the dimension of consciousness that corresponds to your highest vision of yourself. Every time you close your eyes and feel the reality of your fulfilled desire, not as a hope, but as a fact, you step into that world. You begin to see differently, act differently, speak differently. You carry a new vibration, and that vibration calls forth the outer conditions that match it. There is no future moment when you will become who you wish to be. There is only the now in which you accept that you already are. The new world reveals itself when you stop waiting for proof and start walking in faith. The outer world bends to the inner certainty. You are not here to struggle for creation. You are here to awaken to completion. Everything you've asked for is already done. Your task is to remember it, to feel it, to live as though it were already real. When you do, the invisible becomes visible, and the new world that always existed within you unfolds before your eyes. The truth is simple, yet profoundly powerful. Everything begins and ends within you. The world you experience is not happening to you. It is happening through you. The unseen governs the seen. The shift does not wait for external permission. It begins the instant you choose to see differently, to believe differently, to be differently. You are not waiting for change, you are becoming the change. As your inner vibration lifts, life responds in kind. The circumstances that once seemed immovable begin to bend to your new state of consciousness. The old dissolves, the new emerges, and everything rearranges itself to match your renewed belief in who you are and what you deserve. Remember, nothing is ever against you. Even what appears as delay or setback is divine order at work, aligning the perfect sequence for your highest good. Trust the process. Rest in faith. Know that the divine cannot fail. The moment you imagine your new world and walk as if it were already done, you step into the reality that has been waiting for you all along. The shift has begun, not somewhere out there, but within you. Every thought, every assumption, every quiet moment of faith is shaping the world you will soon see with your eyes. So hold your vision, stay in the feeling of fulfillment, and walk forward, knowing that everything is now moving in your favor. Thank you for allowing these words to speak to your spirit. May they remind you of the power that lives within you, the power to create, to transform, and to awaken. The shift is here, and it's yours. There is a silent current moving through your life, unseen, yet undeniably real. Everything around you, every circumstance, every person, every challenge is quietly shifting in your favor. You may not see it yet, but the tide is turning and it is moving toward your victory. The first truth to understand is that your reality begins in your imagination. Whatever you hold in your mind with conviction and feeling begins to shape the world around you. When you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, your life bends to reflect that inner certainty. Do not underestimate the power of your mind. It is not merely a tool, it is the forge of your reality. Even when the external world seems stagnant, know this: the invisible shift is already happening. Forces beyond your perception are arranging events and people to bring about what you desire. The universe does not work with hesitation. It moves quietly, methodically, always toward the realization of what your heart has imagined. Trust the process, even when you cannot yet see it. But belief alone is not enough. You must persist in the feeling of your fulfilled desire. Do not let doubts creep in. Do not allow impatience to cloud your vision. Every moment you maintain the inner certainty, you are creating an irresistible momentum that life must reflect. Persistence is the key. The world cannot deny the conviction of a determined heart. Release all resistance. The moment you let go of fear, worry, and frustration, the flow of life moves unhindered toward you. Struggle is unnecessary. It only delays what is already destined for you. Surrender to the natural unfolding and allow miracles to happen with ease. Imagination is your creative power. Live in the end of your desire. See it, feel it, embrace it, as though it is already yours. By immersing yourself in this inner reality, you invite the physical world to follow. Every reality begins as a mental picture. Every success begins as an imagined certainty. Trust the timing of life. What seems delayed is not denial, it is preparation. Everything is being orchestrated with perfect precision to bring your desires in the most favorable way. There is divine timing at work, and it always works in your favor. So hold fast. Do not give up. Every unseen shift, every hidden movement, every quiet alignment is leading you toward your breakthrough. Everything is shifting in your favor. Trust it, believe it, feel it, and watch the impossible become inevitable. Your reality begins not in the world around you, but in the silent creative depths of your imagination. Everything you see, experience, and encounter in your life is a reflection of the beliefs you hold within. The moment you realize that your outer world is a mirror of your inner state, you step into a place of power. For the world does not create you. You create the world by the assumptions you persist in. This is the secret that many overlook. Life does not respond to your complaints, your fears, or even your wishes without feeling. It responds to the living, vibrant conviction that you hold in your mind and heart. When you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, when you live as though what you seek has already been accomplished, life itself begins to rearrange. People, circumstances, and opportunities align in ways that seem miraculous. Yet they are the natural consequence of your inner state. It is not enough to merely hope or wish for change. Hope is weak, fleeting, and uncertain, and the outer world senses this uncertainty. Your imagination, however, is powerful and tangible. By imagining vividly, by entering the state where your desire is already realized, you send a signal to the universe that your fulfillment is inevitable. It is not a distant possibility, it is a present reality, experienced first in the inner world before manifesting in the physical. When you carry this assumption consistently, it impresses itself upon your consciousness so deeply that your actions, decisions, and reactions begin to align with that reality. You start to notice opportunities that were invisible before. You begin to meet people who serve as instruments of your vision. Life unfolds in a way that confirms your inner assumption. Your imagination is the divine tool through which you mold your reality. To exercise this power, you must enter the end state of your desire. Feel it in your body, in your heart, and in your mind. See yourself living the life you want, not someday, but now. Sense the emotions of fulfillment, gratitude, and joy as if they are already yours. This feeling is the signal that transforms mere thought into creation. The universe moves to match the frequency of your inner state. Resistance, doubt, and negativity will try to interrupt this process, but persistence and faith are your allies. The more you dwell in the assumption of your fulfilled desire, the stronger and more undeniable the impression becomes. Understand that the outer world is never separate from you. Every event, every encounter, every circumstance is a reflection of what you carry inside. If your imagination is strong, clear, and unwavering, the world will reflect that strength back to you. If your inner state is uncertain or fearful, life will mirror that uncertainty. This is the essence of creation. You do not chase reality, you embody it. By assuming the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you take the first step in reshaping everything around you. Life reorganizes itself in response, and what once seemed impossible becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Even when everything around you appears still, when life seems to stall and circumstances seem unmoving, an invisible current is flowing beneath the surface, quietly rearranging reality in your favor. Most people judge the world by what they see with their eyes, forgetting that the visible world is always preceded by the invisible. What appears as delay or stagnation is not failure. It is the hidden preparation for your desire to manifest. The universe is always working, always moving, always aligning events, opportunities, and people, even when you cannot yet perceive it. This unseen shift is subtle, delicate, and profound, and it is entirely in your favor. The moment you understand that the physical world is a reflection of the invisible, you will no longer be shaken by what seems like inaction. The unseen forces are already at work. They move in perfect harmony with your inner assumption, rearranging circumstances in ways that often appear miraculous. These forces do not operate randomly. They respond to the frequency of your consciousness. Every belief, every feeling, every thought you hold is a vibration that communicates to the universe what reality you wish to inhabit. When you persist in the assumption of your desire fulfilled, unseen arrangements begin to take shape. Doors open before you, connections are made, and opportunities present themselves naturally. You may not see the mechanism, and you may not feel the shift immediately, but it is happening. Trust in the quiet, because what is invisible is always more powerful than what is visible. It is essential to understand that the shift always precedes the manifestation. Life does not simply hand you your desires in a moment of need. It first aligns the circumstances, the people, and the events to make that desire inevitable. Just as a seed must first develop roots beneath the soil before it sprouts into the sunlight, your dream must first take form in the invisible realm before it appears in the world of matter. To panic, to doubt, or to rush the process is to resist the very natural order that is working for you. Patience is not passivity, it is trust in the creative law that governs reality. The more you can internalize this truth, the less power the outer world has to disturb your inner peace. Circumstances are never final, they are temporary indicators that the unseen is still aligning. Even when setbacks appear, they are often part of a larger orchestration, positioning you for the most favorable outcome. You are not witnessing delay, you are witnessing preparation. Your task is not to force results, but to remain steadfast in the inner vision, to continue assuming the state of fulfillment, and to carry the feeling of the end as your present reality. Know that this invisible shift is relentless, precise, and inevitable. Your desire is already on its way to you. The universe is not late. It is perfectly timed. The unseen forces are constantly at work, molding the circumstances so that when the manifestation appears, it does so effortlessly and completely. Your only requirement is to trust, to persist, and to hold unwavering faith in the unseen process. What is invisible now will soon be visible, and everything that is shifting in your favor will emerge as proof of the power of belief, patience, and alignment with the creative law. The power of your desire is not measured by how loudly you declare it or by the force with which you wish for it. It is measured by the persistence of the feeling you carry within. It is easy to become distracted by appearances, by circumstances that seem to contradict your dreams, or by voices, both external and internal, that whisper doubt. Yet true manifestation does not depend on the external world. It depends entirely on your inner state. The moment you persist in the feeling of your desire fulfilled, living as though it is already yours, you set into motion an inevitability that the outer world cannot resist. This is the secret that transforms dreams into reality. The continuity of feeling, the unwavering assumption that your desire exists now. To persist in feeling means to occupy your inner world with the end result, without hesitation, without interruption, and without compromise. Do not allow fleeting doubts or momentary disappointments to break the continuity of your assumption. Life will constantly challenge you. It will present obstacles, delays, and contradictions. These are not signs that your desire is failing. They are tests of your persistence. Every time you return to the feeling of your fulfilled desire, every time you re-enter the state of its already having been accomplished, you reinforce the vibration that must eventually be reflected in your external world. Continuity is the bridge between imagination and reality, between thought and matter. And matter, the outer world cannot reflect what your inner state does not first hold. People, circumstances, and events are drawn to the frequency you maintain. When your inner state is consistent, when your feeling of fulfillment is steady and unwavering, life aligns to mirror it. The more you persist in feeling, the more inevitable your manifestation becomes. Even when the world appears contrary, persistence creates a gravitational pull that cannot be denied. What seems like opposition is merely the outer world waiting to catch up with the state of consciousness you have assumed. Persistence is also an act of faith. It is faith not in what you see, but in what you imagine. It is the belief that what you have assumed as true in your inner world will inevitably appear in your outer world. This faith is not passive. It is active, vibrant, and alive. Every thought, every feeling, every moment spent in the inner reality of fulfillment strengthens the invisible threads that bind your desire to its manifestation. Impatience, worry, or distraction weakens these threads, while steadfast feeling reinforces them until the external world must conform. Understand that persistence is not measured in days or months. It is measured in consistency of state. It is the unbroken commitment to live in the end, to feel the reality of your desire now, to ignore appearances, and to hold unwavering conviction. When you persist, life cannot help but yield. The outer world has no choice but to reflect the state you have assumed. Your desire moves from imagination to inevitability, from thought to experience, from invisible assumption to visible manifestation. Continuity of feeling is the law through which the impossible becomes inevitable, and the dreams you hold most dear become your living reality. Resistance is the invisible barrier that prevents your desires from manifesting. It is the tension created by doubt, fear, and impatience, the inner struggle against the natural flow of life. When you wrestle with circumstances, when you fight against what seems to be, you only strengthen the very obstacle you wish to overcome. The universe responds not to struggle, but to the state of mind you maintain. Every moment you resist, every thought of worry or fear acts like a block, slowing the movement of your desire from imagination into reality. It is not the world that delays your fulfillment. It is your resistance that interrupts the seamless flow of life that is already working in your favor. To release resistance is to surrender, to trust, and to allow the natural unfolding of events to carry you toward your desire. Surrender does not mean inaction or passivity. It means alignment. It means maintaining your inner assumption of the fulfilled desire while letting go of struggle. When you no longer oppose the present moment, when you cease to fret over how or when your desire will manifest, you create space for the invisible currents of life to bring your vision into form. This is the paradox of creation. By releasing struggle, you gain control. By surrendering, you command the manifestation of your desire. Fear is one of the most common forms of resistance. It whispers that what you want is impossible, that you are not worthy, or that circumstances are against you. Doubt, likewise, undermines your inner conviction, tempting you to look to the outer world for proof. Impatience rushes you to act before the invisible forces are fully aligned. All of these are signs that you are operating from a place of resistance rather than trust. The solution is simple but profound. Return continually to the inner state of peace, assurance, and certainty. Let the feeling of your desire fulfilled dominate your consciousness. Live as if the end has already come, and allow life to orchestrate the details. Understand that the universe is always working, always arranging, always moving to fulfill your desire. The unseen is precise, and the natural order is perfect. When you resist, you clash with this order. When you surrender, you align with it. This alignment is effortless. It requires no struggle, no frantic effort, no desperate attempts to control outcomes. All that is required is faith, patience, and the willingness to allow life to bring your desire in its own perfect way. Every delay, every obstacle, every unexpected turn is simply life preparing the optimal conditions for your fulfillment. Only a state of unconditional fulfillment. By releasing resistance, you move from tension to flow, from fear to faith, from struggle to effortless creation. You free yourself to inhabit the reality you have imagined. You understand that the outer world cannot resist the conviction of your inner state. As you surrender, the doors that seemed closed begin to open. The pathways that seemed blocked clear, and the invisible forces align with precision, bringing your desire into manifestation. Everything is already shifting in your favor, and resistance is the only thing that could prevent you from seeing it. Let go, trust the process, and know that life is unfolding exactly as it should, carrying you to the reality your heart has imagined. Every new reality begins in the mind. The world you see around you is not the starting point. It is the reflection of what has already been conceived in consciousness. Imagination is not a mere tool for idle dreaming. It is the creative force, the divine instrument through which life itself is shaped. Whatever you wish to experience, whatever success, joy, or fulfillment you desire, first exists as a mental picture within you. Before a tree grows, before a building is constructed, before any achievement is realized, it begins as a vision, a clear inner representation that precedes all physical manifestation. To ignore the power of imagination is to ignore the very mechanism through which life responds to consciousness. To wield this creative force effectively, you must live in the end. This means inhabiting the state of your desire fulfilled, imagining the result with vivid detail, and most importantly, with deep emotion. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the relief, the excitement, the gratitude of having what you seek. Emotions are the bridge between imagination and reality. They give life to the mental picture and impress it upon the fabric of existence. The universe does not distinguish between imagination and reality. It responds to the feeling and conviction behind the inner picture. The more real it feels to you, the sooner it becomes inevitable in the physical world. Living in the end is not simply visualizing the outcome. It is embodying it. See yourself walking through the day as if your desire has already been fulfilled. Hear the sounds, notice the surroundings, feel the sensations of your new reality. The mind and body must align with the imagined state. This alignment signals to life that your fulfillment is not hypothetical but actual. The more consistently you enter this state, the more the outer world is compelled to mirror it. You are as the sea is calm and mostly clear. You are as the sea is calm and mostly clear. Opportunities, people, and circumstances begin to appear in perfect harmony with the inner reality you hold. What once seemed distant or impossible now becomes natural and inevitable. The creative force of imagination is also timeless. Past failures, current circumstances, or apparent impossibilities have no power over it. When you imagine with conviction, the mental picture exists beyond the constraints of time, calling the future into existence before it appears physically. This is the essence of manifestation. The future is already here in consciousness, and your imagination simply allows it to take form in the material world. By repeatedly dwelling in the end, by reinforcing the mental picture with faith and feeling, you set in motion an invisible current that life must honor. Do not underestimate the simplicity and power of this process. The secret of all creation is imagination. Whatever you vividly assume and persist in feeling as real, life is compelled to bring into existence. Every great achievement, every success story, every transformation in history began with this invisible act of mental creation. By embracing your imagination as the creative force, by living in the end, and by infusing your vision with deep emotion, you become the architect of your own reality. The life you desire is not waiting for permission, it is waiting for your inner assumption to claim it as already yours. Faith in divine timing is the understanding that the universe operates with perfect precision. Even when life appears to move slowly or obstacles seem to delay your desires. What seems like a pause, a setback, or a disappointment is never truly a denial of your wish. It is the meticulous preparation of circumstances, people, and opportunities to ensure that your manifestation arrives in the most favorable way. Life is orchestrated with an intelligence far beyond what the conscious mind can perceive. Every moment, every event, and every interaction is part of a grand design, aligning invisibly to bring your desire to fruition. To have faith in divine timing is to trust that nothing is wasted, nothing is random, and nothing is absent from the unfolding of your life. Delays are often misunderstood as failure, but they are in reality the proof of the universe's perfect planning. If you push too hard, act prematurely, or try to force results, you may disrupt the natural order that is working in your favor. The outer world cannot create what the inner world has not yet fully prepared. And the timing of life ensures that everything falls into place with maximum impact. Faith in divine timing is the recognition that what you desire is already yours in the unseen realm, and that the universe is simply aligning the perfect circumstances to bring it into your physical experience. Patience, therefore, is not passive waiting. It is active trust in the creative law that governs reality. To cultivate this faith, you must let go of anxiety and impatience. Doubts arise when you focus on appearances rather than the invisible truth that your desire exists in the inner world and that the external world will inevitably reflect it. Every moment that seems empty or delayed is a moment in which unseen forces are meticulously arranging everything for your good. This faith transforms waiting from a period of frustration into a period of empowerment. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You are in harmony with the intelligent flow of life. You understand that every delay, every twist, every unexpected turn is perfectly timed to maximize the impact of your fulfillment. Now, if that Mishka stampa saki, you are ready. Now, if that Mishka stands over you, cast a stone. Faith in divine timing also teaches you to remain steadfast in your inner state, regardless of external appearances. Life cannot contradict what has already been assumed in consciousness. Your inner certainty, your assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, is the signal that guides the unseen forces of the universe. The outer world may lag, but it is only catching up with the state you have already established within. The more unwavering your faith, the swifter and smoother the manifestation. This is why patience and persistence are inseparable from the principle of divine timing. Understanding divine timing allows you to move through life with confidence, grace, and peace. You no longer rush, struggle, or despair, because you know that every moment is working for you, arranging the circumstances in the exact way necessary to bring your desire to life. When you trust this timing, You align yourself with the invisible current of creation. You recognize that your desire is already fulfilled in the unseen, and all that remains is for the outer world to reflect it. Faith in divine timing transforms waiting into assurance, doubt into trust, and desire into inevitable reality, ensuring that everything unfolds perfectly in your favor. As we reflect on the truths we have explored today, remember this: everything is already shifting in your favor. Your inner belief shapes the world around you. The unseen forces are quietly rearranging circumstances, and persistence in feeling ensures that what you desire becomes inevitable. By releasing resistance, trusting the process, living in the end through your imagination, and having faith in divine timing, you align yourself with the effortless flow of life. The universe is conspiring on your behalf, orchestrating every detail to bring your dreams into manifestation. Your role is not to struggle or doubt, but to assume, to feel, and to trust, knowing that the reality you envision is already yours. So, do not give up. Stand firm in your vision, persist in your belief, and embrace the invisible currents working tirelessly for your good. Every moment, every event, every encounter is a step closer to the life you have imagined. The shift is happening, the alignment is taking place, and your fulfillment is inevitable. Thank you for opening your heart and mind today, for allowing these words to inspire belief and courage within you. May you move forward with unwavering faith, persistent feeling, and the certainty that life is working for you in ways beyond your imagination. Thank you. There comes a sacred moment in every life when what once felt distant begins to draw near, when the invisible becomes undeniable, and the shift that once seemed impossible starts to unfold quietly in your favor. You may not see the full picture yet, but something deep within you can already feel it, that inner knowing that whispers, "It has begun." The change didn't start when circumstances moved. It began when you did, when your awareness tilted from fear to faith, from waiting to knowing. Everything visible follows the unseen movement of your inner state. Long before the blessing arrives at your door, it has already been dispatched by your belief. The outer world is just a mirror. What you now see shifting around you is a reflection of what has shifted within you. That is the secret. The power that rearranges your world does not lie in effort or struggle, but in consciousness. The moment you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, a new reality is born. You are not hoping for change, you are embodying it. The universe has already begun its rearrangement, aligning people, places, and timing to deliver what you've believed. What once resisted you is now working for you. Every closed door was not rejection, but redirection. Every delay was divine synchronization. Do not judge by appearances. The surface may still look still, but beneath it, currents of favor are already in motion. The universe is rearranging itself to honor your new vibration. You've stepped into alignment, and now life must follow. Feel it now, as though everything has already turned. Let your inner conversation echo gratitude, not waiting. Speak as one who already stands in answered prayer. When you declare, "I am favored," the world reshapes itself to mirror your declaration. The evidence may appear slowly, but the transformation is immediate. The unseen has already shifted. The change has already begun. Every moment you hold faith, you accelerate its unfolding. So stand firm, live as though the promise is already fulfilled, because it is. The universe never forgets a belief truly felt. The shift is here, and it is working for you. You are stepping into a chapter where what once resisted now assists, where what once delayed now delivers. You are not entering the season of change. You are the change. Everything is shifting in your favor, and the movement has already started. The unseen realm moves first. Before anything ever appears in your life, it is first conceived in the invisible, in thought, in imagination, in belief. Every transformation, every answered prayer, every breakthrough begins as a silent vibration in the unseen. It is the unseen that governs the seen, the invisible blueprint that dictates the physical form. What the mind consistently holds, the world inevitably reflects. So when we talk about a shift happening in your favor, we are not speaking of something that starts with outer evidence. It begins within you, in your consciousness, in your inner atmosphere, in the unseen movements of faith. You must understand that everything physical is a delayed echo of what has already occurred in the invisible realm. The seed is planted in imagination, watered by emotion, and nourished by belief until it takes form. That is why when you choose to change your thoughts, you are not engaging in wishful thinking, you are engaging in creation itself. The moment you assume something to be true and feel it deeply, you set unseen forces in motion. Circumstances, people, and opportunities begin to rearrange themselves to reflect that new inner state. It may seem invisible, but something is already shifting beyond the surface. Most people wait for proof before they believe. They look for visible signs before giving thanks. But true power lies in reversing the order, in believing before seeing. When you hold an inner knowing, when you see the unseen with the eyes of faith, the outer world must eventually comply. Reality is nothing but the projection of consciousness, and consciousness moves first. You cannot experience what you have not first accepted within. So if life seems quiet right now, do not mistake stillness for inactivity. Beneath the silence, divine orchestration is already at work. The unseen realm is arranging circumstances in your favor. Every prayer, every word of faith, every act of gratitude is forming the unseen pattern that will soon become your visible experience. The delay you perceive is not denial, it is gestation. The invisible is ripening into the visible, and the shift that began in silence will soon speak loudly through manifestation. That is why it is essential to guard your imagination and your inner dialogue. The unseen realm responds not to what you hope for, but to what you feel as real. If you dwell in fear, fear takes form. If you dwell in gratitude, gratitude multiplies. You are constantly sowing seeds into the unseen with your thoughts and emotions. Every word, every assumption is a creative act. So align yourself with what you wish to experience. See it, feel it, and know that it is already done. Everything you desire is already alive in the unseen, waiting for your belief to give it shape. When you align your inner world with faith, the unseen begins to move. And once it moves, the visible world must follow. The shift is already underway, even if your eyes have not yet caught up. Trust the unseen, for it is always the first to move in your favor. Assumption precedes manifestation. Everything that unfolds in your external world is born first in the inner sanctuary of belief. Life is not responding to what you want, but to what you assume to be true about yourself and your reality. Your assumptions, those quiet, consistent inner convictions, are the architects of your experience. Before anything can appear in the physical, it must first be accepted as true in the invisible theater of your mind. The outer world simply mirrors back the images you have already embraced within. When you assume something, you give it permission to exist. Assumption is not idle wishing or passive hope. It is the deliberate act of acceptance. It is the decision to see the end as already accomplished, to feel the fulfillment before it arrives. Every assumption, when sustained, hardens into fact. The conditions of your life, the people you meet, the opportunities you encounter, all are drawn into alignment with the vibration of your inner conviction. You are the living center of creation, and what you accept as real within you becomes the pattern that the world must reproduce. Many people believe that change begins with effort, with action, strategy, or circumstance. But the true seed of transformation is internal. When you shift your assumption, you shift your entire world. You can pray, visualize, and speak affirmations endlessly, but if your underlying assumption remains one of lack or doubt, nothing will change. The universe responds to your deepest knowing, not to your shallow desires. It is your inner yes that summons the visible proof. Every great manifestation begins with a moment of inner surrender, the instant you stop striving and start knowing. You assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and from that state, everything begins to rearrange, the unseen response to your vibration, not your words. You do not wait for evidence. You live from the awareness that it is already done. And in time, the physical world bends to match that certainty. The law is unfailing. What you assume, you become. This assumption is not pretending, it is perceiving from the end. You shift your focus from how things appear to how they are in the unseen. When you occupy the feeling of the fulfilled desire, you broadcast a new frequency, and life echoes it back as circumstance. The moment you believe you are favored, life brings favor. When you assume abundance, abundance begins to flow. When you accept healing, wholeness manifests. The outer world has no choice but to yield to the power of your inner conviction. So guard what you assume about yourself. Every self-concept carries its own destiny. The world does not test your worth, it reflects your belief. You are always creating, not by force, but by assumption. Accept within what you desire without, and it must appear. This is the sacred rhythm of creation. Assumption first, manifestation second. Believe it is done, and the world will rise to prove you right. The old reality is dissolving. What you once saw as delay, disappointment, or even denial was never rejection from life, it was divine rearrangement. The universe has been quietly dismantling what no longer serves your growth, removing the weights that cannot travel with you into your next season. What felt like loss was not punishment, it was preparation. The old patterns, relationships, and opportunities that once fit perfectly are now being released because they no longer match the vibration of who you are becoming. You are evolving, and as you ascend in awareness, everything that cannot sustain your higher purpose begins to fade. This process can feel uncomfortable because the human mind clings to the familiar even when it no longer nourishes the soul. You may look at what's leaving and wonder why, but the unseen intelligence guiding your path knows exactly what it's doing. Every closed door, every unexpected detour, every ending is a part of the sacred transition. The old reality is not being taken from you, It is dissolving because you have outgrown it. The shift is not punishment, but promotion. Life is making room for something higher, greater, and more aligned with your destiny. Think of it like the changing of seasons. Winter must release its grip before spring can bloom. The ground that once seemed barren is preparing to bring forth new life. Similarly, your old experiences, identities, and attachments are melting away so the new can take root. The people who walked away, the opportunities that disappeared, the dreams that didn't unfold as you planned, all of them were part of an old frequency. You cannot carry old energy into a new dimension of purpose. The divine rearrangement is not chaotic, it is precise. The universe never subtracts without intention. What appears to be the breaking down is actually the building up. Behind every ending is a hidden beginning, and behind every disappointment is a doorway to alignment. The old must fall away so that the new can stand. And though it may feel uncertain, trust that this is the necessary clearing before the breakthrough. The unseen realm has already completed what your eyes have yet to see. In truth, the old reality is not dying, it's transforming. You are stepping out of limitation, fear, and repetition into expansion, faith, and flow. The pieces of your life are not falling apart, they are falling into place. Every delay was divine timing, ensuring that what is meant for you arrives when you are ready to hold it. Nothing that belongs to your higher purpose can ever be lost. So let the old dissolve with gratitude. Bless what was, but release it freely. The rearrangement you are witnessing is sacred. It is the universe aligning your life with your truest self. The old is fading not because something went wrong, but because something right is finally unfolding. The past is closing gently, and the new has already begun to rise in its place. Faith is not waiting, it is knowing. It is not the passive hope that something might happen someday. It is the unshakable awareness that it already has. True faith stands in the fulfillment before it appears. It does not plead or beg, it rests. It speaks from the end, not toward it. Faith is the quiet confidence that creation has already responded to your inner conviction, even if your senses have not yet caught up. You do not wait for the shift, you stand in it. You feel the new reality as real, and the universe cannot resist responding to that certainty. Waiting implies distance. It suggests that what you desire is somewhere else, sometime later, dependent on external factors. But faith erases distance. It bridges the unseen and the seen by claiming the end as now. When you truly believe, you no longer look for signs, you become the sign. You live, speak, and move as though your prayer has already been answered. You act from fulfillment, not toward it. This is the creative power of faith. It summons the invisible into visibility. When you stand in faith, you stand in the finished work. You stop trying to make things happen and begin allowing them to unfold. You stop measuring progress by appearances and start measuring it by inner peace. Faith knows that everything is already working together in perfect order, even when the outer world still appears unchanged. The shift has already begun in the unseen. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the laws of creation are set in motion. From that point onward, all of life begins to move in harmony with your belief. Faith is the language of the unseen. It is not something you turn on and off depending on your mood or circumstances. It is a state of being. To walk in faith is to dwell continually in the awareness that what you desire is already yours. It's not about forcing yourself to believe. It's about resting in knowing. You feel the reality inwardly so deeply that the outer world has no choice but to mirror it. Creation obeys the vibration of conviction, not the noise of doubt. When you say, I know it is done, you activate a frequency that calls forth alignment. People, opportunities, and events begin to appear as if by coincidence, but it is not coincidence. It is creation responding to your inner knowing. The path unfolds naturally because you are no longer pushing against life. You are flowing with it. You are walking in the finished state, and the finished state always reveals itself in perfect time. Faith is not waiting for the evidence. Faith is the evidence. It is the inner realization that compels outer manifestation. When you feel the end as real, creation has no choice but to obey. You do not chase what is already yours. You simply align with it. The moment you know it in spirit, you claim it in reality. That is the power of faith. It does not wait, it knows. Your inner dialogue builds the future. Every thought you think, every word you whisper in the silence of your mind is a seed planted in the soil of consciousness. You are never merely thinking, you are creating. The conversations you hold within yourself are blueprints that shape the structure of your outer world. Long before circumstances change, your self-talk determines their direction. Every time you rehearse fear, you water the roots of doubt. Every time you speak faith, you summon alignment. Life does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you continuously declare to be true within. Your inner speech is the silent architect of destiny. Even when you say nothing aloud, you are always speaking inwardly, to yourself, to your circumstances, and to the unseen forces shaping your life. The tone of that inner conversation determines whether your future blooms or withers. You cannot speak defeat and expect victory. You cannot dwell in lack and attract abundance. Every inner word carries creative power. The moment you accept an idea as real and repeat it inwardly, it begins to take form in your outer experience. Many people believe they are victims of circumstance, but in truth, they are victims of their own inner dialogue. The mind is constantly recording and replaying stories of who you are, what you deserve, and what is possible for you. If you do not take control of that conversation, it will default to old beliefs and past memories. But the moment you begin to speak consciously within, affirming what you desire as though it is already done, you rewrite the script of your future. The world must echo the frequency of your most dominant inner dialogue. To speak as if it's done is not to pretend, it is to create. When you declare within yourself, I am favored, I am chosen, everything is working for me. You activate the law of assumption. You align your inner state with the reality you wish to see. The universe, being obedient to the vibration of certainty, begins to rearrange everything to match that truth. Outer change is not a matter of effort, but of consistency. Keep your inner words faithful to your desired outcome, and soon your life will begin to echo them back to you. You know, your inner dialogue is a sacred instrument, the language through which you speak with creation itself. Every affirmation, every inner vision, every quiet word of gratitude becomes a living seed destined to sprout in time. You need not force the growth. You need only guard the garden. Speak life where you once spoke lack. Speak victory where you once rehearsed defeat. Speak peace where you once repeated fear. Life mirrors the tone of your conversation. So pay attention to what you say when no one is listening. for that is the language creation obeys. Speak as if it is done, and soon it will be. Your inner dialogue is not a reflection of the world. It is the command that shapes it. You have entered the season of visible transformation. What was once only a whisper in your spirit, what was once held quietly in the secret place of belief, is now beginning to take form before your eyes. The prayers you once spoke in faith are now gathering substance. The visions you once carried in silence are stepping into visibility. This is not the moment of waiting. This is the moment of unfolding. What began in the invisible realm is now revealing itself through tangible signs, divine alignments, and undeniable breakthroughs. The shift is not coming, it has already begun. For so long, you may have walked through seasons of stillness, wondering if anything was truly changing. It seemed as if heaven was silent and progress distant. But what you could not see was the intricate orchestration taking place beneath the surface. Every quiet act of faith, every moment of surrender, every inner declaration was shaping the unseen foundation of your new reality. Now that hidden work is rising to the surface. What was once concealed is now being revealed. The time of preparation is complete. Manifestation is here. Transformation never announces itself loudly in the beginning. It begins subtly, like the first rays of dawn before sunrise. The atmosphere starts to shift. Conversations change. Opportunities begin to appear. You sense momentum even before you see results. That's how divine timing works. It reveals itself in stages, ensuring that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to sustain it. You are no longer waiting for the right moment. You are the right moment. The world around you is adjusting to match who you have become internally. This is the season where evidence will follow belief. The doors that once seemed sealed are now unlocking effortlessly. The relationships, resources, and opportunities aligned with your higher purpose are finding you. You no longer have to chase what belongs to you. It is drawn to your vibration. The universe is mirroring your inner transformation by rearranging everything in your favor. What once resisted you now assists you because you have changed your inner frequency. You are no longer the person who doubted, you are the one who knows. The beauty of this season is that it carries both reward and responsibility. You are called not just to receive, but to embody the manifestation. Walk as though the promise has already been fulfilled. Speak with the authority of one who has seen the invisible and now watches it unfold. Gratitude is your posture. Faith is your atmosphere. What was once a distant dream is now a living reality because you dared to believe when nothing yet appeared. The shift is already in motion. The unseen work has broken through the surface, and the visible world is catching up with what your spirit has long known. You are standing in the evidence of answered prayer. The transformation is not ahead of you, it is here, alive, unfolding, and accelerating in your favor. The shift is not coming, it has begun. Everything that once seemed distant is now drawing near. You have stepped into a divine flow, where what you once imagined is becoming visible, where what you once hoped for is taking form. The unseen has moved, and the visible is following. Every delay has served a purpose. Every closed door has redirected you toward alignment, and every silent season has built the strength required for your moment of manifestation. You are not waiting for change, you are living in it. This is the hour to walk with confidence, to speak with conviction, and to live as though the promise is already fulfilled, because it is. The shift is not a future event, it is your present reality. The old has dissolved, the new has begun, and everything is aligning in your favor. Stand in gratitude, not anticipation. Speak life, not lack. Believe not because you hope to see, but because you already know. The unseen realm has already completed the work, and the evidence is now unfolding before you. Hold fast to your vision, protect your faith, and remember that what you feel, think, and declare within yourself becomes the script your reality must perform. You are the author of your new chapter, and creation is obeying your faith-filled direction. Walk in joy, walk in peace, and know that everything is working for your highest good. The change is here, and it carries your name. Thank you for listening. May you continue to walk in faith, speak with power, and live in the awareness that the shift has already begun, and it is working in your favor.